Mike Lupica back here on ESPN New York with Don LaGreca. What music was that, Joe?
That's Jimmy Eat World. Jimmy Eat World.
Oh, I like that. Yeah, we got to keep that in the rotation. In addition to everything else that's going on in sports, we've got the U.S. of Open Golf Championship starting tomorrow at Congressional. The last time I was at Congressional watching the Open, it was actually a terrific finish. Ernie Els beat Colin Montgomery and Tom Lehman. It was one more of those heartbreak opens for Tom Lehman. This, to me, is as wide open, even though we get a lot of unlikely winners, who then seem likely after they've won. Graham McDowell winning at Pebble and Lucas Glover winning at Bethpage. It's as wide open and open as I can ever remember. But I'm going to give you my pick, Don. Are you ready? My pick to win the U.S. Open is Dustin Johnson.
Why is that?
Because I think he's due. I think he should have won the PGA. That was stupid. It wasn't a bunker. It shouldn't have been a bunker. Shut up, Pete Dye. It wasn't a bunker. Kids are playing with sandcastles a few yards away. And I know that he should have known, and I know that his caddy should have known. He's so talented, this kid. I just think he's due, and I think this is the week where he's going to win the Open. But I'll tell you what, if you're NBC, you're sure hoping that one of those kids is on the leaderboard along with Phil Mickelson. We are joined now, very happy to be joined now, by the great Cal Ripken. Now, some people may think of Mr. Ripken as the man who saved baseball and broke Lou Gehrig's consecutive game record. But I have to tell you something. You know what I think of him now? Competition in the young adult market. Just when you think you can just take a deep breath, here comes Ripken to write best-selling books for boys. So thank you, Mr. Baseball Immortal. Hey, Cal.
Hey, how you doing? That's an interesting. I was thinking competitor in the youth market space. I wasn't sure whether you were going that for a minute until we got to the book writing.
But you did good. You got to number 5 on the New York Times bestseller list. I mean, it's not number 1 as some of us have been, but it's 5 is very solid, Cal.
Yeah, we certainly can. We have things to aspire to, but the kids' book was an opportunity to talk about values and principles, a lot of stuff that I learned from the game, and do it in a kids' travel team sort of story. And
Cal,
the characters are wonderful, and the talking about a temper. There was a lot about me in that first book. We have a couple other
called
books
Hothead, by the way.
It's called Hothead. Yep.
Cal, we'll talk about this for just one more second and then move on, because there's a lot I want to talk to you about. Isn't it? I've found this out firsthand. Now you found it out. Isn't it amazing and an amazingly wonderful experience to find out how much kids still want to read?
Well, I think it's they do want to gobble it up in many ways. I tried as a parent to try to make books fun, almost like parents try to make baseball or sports fun, to get them to want to buy into it. And by animating some of the stories and kind of reading to them, my own kids saw books somewhat as toys growing up. And I think a lot of kids feel that way. And once you get past the baby stories, you want to read something substantive. You want to read something and feel more like you're a big kid or you're a grown-up. And this series right here was designed just for that reader. That reader in the middle school age.
Yep.
We fudged it a little bit, but it is about something that's a little bit more. It's not a picture book. It's 150 pages of reading. And it is amazing how they start to get into it, that reading is not lost. I mean, we're doing it on iPads now and Kindles and many other ways where you're consuming it, but reading still is a way to learn and to escape sometimes.
I got to tell one story about Cal with his permission. I went down. Ripken has like the dream setting for any adult. He's got his own indoor basketball court, okay? I had heard about it. It's like when you were a kid and you used to hear about Wilt Chamberlain's house in Bel Air. I'd heard about this full court gym with scoreboard. I went down there, God, I forget, Cal, it must have been 15 years ago, to do a piece on Cal for Esquire magazine. Went to the house. It was everything that I'd hoped for. He's got the Iron Mike machine. He's got the gym. It's like Cal World, okay? And he told me that he'd had these big pickup games in the winter, and he always invited 11 guys. And I said, why 11? He says, well, one guy's got to work the scoreboard. So now we're out on this court, and he said, well, let's play one-on-one. And I said, well, okay. He had suggested Horace. I said, if we're going to play, we might as well play. And he says, check on the first basket of the game. And he comes out and he guards me at the three-point line. And I said, is that how it's going to be? And he said, you want to play or not? And then he smoked me. Hey, Cal, obviously you've been following, Derek Jeter's pursuit of his own milestone. Mm-hmm. But as a commentator and a person who's very much in the world now with Ripken Baseball, which is 10th season, and even through your work at the Ripken Foundation, okay, you've also seen that Derek is undergoing the drama of the aging baseball icon, and I think no one can speak to that better than you can.
Well, I mean, I'd have to specifically speak to it, but yeah, there's a pattern that seems familiar to me, and one that quite honestly I wrestle with. I mean, because the type of player that Derek doesn't come along very often. And yes, the reality of the situation is that he is going to age and he is going to exit at some point. And it's how you deal with that overall that kind of concerns me. You don't have to be critical. It's almost like you can work with him in many ways because he is that special person that represents the Yankees so well. He is the captain. He is that off the field model in many ways. And so I don't know. I don't know whether it's just the rumblings that are around, but Derek still has a lot of value. And I think part of the problem is now that you're comparing Derek to Derek. You're comparing right. Derek at this age to Derek when he was younger. Let's try to erase the younger time and just say, okay, I need a shortstop. And I'm looking for a shortstop that can drive in 80 runs and score 100 runs and make every play in the field at crunch time, and when the game's on the line. And by the way, if we get to the postseason, we can count on him to really raise his game to the next level, even now. So if you look at it that way, Derek's got to be one of those choices.